conversations about government spending. I firmly believe our national debt is the greatest threat to national security, and Congress must address it now. We cannot continue to ignore our failing fiscal trajectory. Debt held by the public is expected to reach $45 trillion, or 114% of GDP by 2033, and the longer we wait, the harder it's going to be to fix. And doing nothing is simply not an option. We are here today to discuss GAO's annual duplication report and evaluate the effectiveness of our agency's efforts to prevent waste and realize billions of dollars in cost savings for taxpayers. 2 weeks ago, I questioned the Director of Office of Personnel Management about the concerning issue of telework, which started with the COVID-19 pandemic and is still continuing today. A great deal has been said about telework in federal agencies, but most concerning to me is that we have yet to see any data regarding the supposed benefits of telework. And at this point, it has been years since the Biden administration announced expanded telework was going to be the new norm. I asked the director what evidence he had regarding the value of telework. More specifically, I asked if any data exists showing that widespread federal telework is as effective and good for the taxpayer as in-person work. His response was the following, quote, "The work arrangements we have at OPM, which include telework, are consistent with the performance improvement that we are seeing from our agency." End quote. I also asked the director if OPM had reduced its cost as a result of reduced physical office space, since many of its employees are continuing to work from home. But the answer was quite vague. The director said, "We have let go some leased space around the country, and we have more work to do to get to a steady state." So if we're going to have telework, I feel like we should have some cost savings in leased space. The federal office space utilization segment of the duplication report shows that the federal government owns over 460 million square feet of office space that costs billions of dollars annually to operate and maintain. Is that correct, Mr. Dodara?
Yes.
Thank you. In a 2023 sample survey, GAO found that 17 of 24 agencies overseen by the council used an estimated average of 25% or less of their headquarters building's capacity. 25% or less of the 460 million square feet. And agencies at the higher end of the range used only an estimated 40 to 49% of the capacity of their headquarters during that time frame. So my question is this: how is it that significant percentage of agency employees are working from home and have been doing so since the pandemic, and yet agencies like OPM have only let go some, if any, leased space?
Yes. I'll ask Dave Maroney to elaborate. Congressman Timmons, good to see you.
Great to see you.
But I would say one thing first is that we've had real property management in the federal government on our high-risk list since 2007. There was unused federal property before the pandemic, and the federal government was doing a very poor job of disposing of that property, and there should have been much more cost savings. And I agree with you. If you're going to move in this direction, you can prove telework's effective for your agency, and you're focused on the right outcomes, productivity, and the quality of the work. You can't have extra space. You should be able to get rid of it. Dave?
Thank you.
Right. And to your point, Congressman, that's certainly a concern that we have looked at in terms of the low utilization of federal office space in the post-pandemic. As the Comptroller General noted, this is a longstanding problem, but it has gotten considerably worse with increases in telework. And so our recommendation to agencies have been for OMB in coordination with the Federal Real Property Council, which is the senior real property officials across the government, to develop benchmarks for determining how much space they are utilizing and then move forward to get rid of that space that they don't need. It has significant financial costs to hold on to unneeded space, obviously, but also environmental costs. You're using energy and water for those buildings, regardless if someone's at their desk or not. Has opportunity costs. Agencies are spending money on space they don't need. That means that's not money for their mission. Also means the local communities where those buildings aren't able to get the most out of that area either. So definitely a concern. The agencies do need to move forward on making decisions about their space.
No, I appreciate that. I think we could get a lot more aggressive on this. And, even here in the Capitol, the cost of office space is enormous. So, as we consider relocating agencies and, going to more telework, this is something that is a very simple cost savings that would be enormous. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars a year, and again, $35 trillion in debt, $2 trillion deficit, and we're increasing our debt by $1 trillion every 100 days. These are all like major challenges that we have to face, And I think that this is a really good space if indeed we're stuck with telework, which I don't particularly like, but if that's the direction that these agencies are going to go, at the very least, let's save some taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you very much. Gentlewoman, Ms. Lay is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd also like to thank Mr. Dodaro for coming to speak on the important work of GAO's duplication.